doctor, engineer, lawyer nahi, teacher nahi, to tum kya ho? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you're always battling, right? But now the avenues are so much, and even parents understand that there is more to life than just sitting there and wondering that my child has to go into these particular avenues of work. But
Hey guys, my name is Anusha and welcome back to my podcast Lemon Lessons. In today's episode, we have Ranaita as our guest. She worked as an assistant director in a production house named 101 India. She's also someone who knows about the nitty-gritties of being on an actual set and has given some real insights about the field of filmmaking. The production of this episode isn't the best, both audio and video-wise, but I know the content is surely worth your time. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoy the podcast and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It will be a great help. चलो चलते हैं. Hi.
hello,
Hi, Ranaita. How are you?
I am surviving.
You're surviving. Right now, you said something about being on the other side of the camera. How does that feel?
Being on the other side of the camera is so empowering because one, you're not bothered about the fact that you are looking like a complete dead person because of your very, very, I guess, a sad schedule that you keep for yourself. But when you're on that side of the camera, it's so empowering because you get to create magic on screen from just words. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that I've done, being on the other side. Though I am very vain, I should be very clear about the fact that I'm very vain about the fact that I like being on camera. But being behind it is so much more. It's just magic. I cannot explain it any other better way than seeing words you created and then you put it on screen with music and dialogues and people, and you're like, I think I created something, and it's beautiful. And you're sitting there also calling shots because I'm a little bit controlling, so I enjoy calling shots. Not that I got to do too much of it as an AD, you don't get to do too much of calling shots, but it's just nice being on the other side. Also, nobody's looking at you. You're not the focus. You're not the primary focus. So you're like, it's cool. If I make a mistake, it's cool. Nobody caught me. But if you're on camera, everybody will catch you on slow-mo. And, we live in a world that is very scary now. So, I don't know. I think I'm happier on the other side of the camera.
But what was your journey like? Like, what made you so interested in, being on the other side of the camera, as you say right now?
I think I come from a very long line of storytellers. So my journey started with just reading so much, with my family actually hounding me to read. I'm born in a family that is voraciously reading all the time. And when you read, your imagination can run riot. So I think the most beautiful thing you can do is read a book, start imagining it, and when it's out there on the screen, you get to choose if you like it or you don't. But I think the most beautiful part about my going into the film world or choosing to tell stories is that I enjoyed listening to stories, I enjoyed telling stories, and the most beautiful part is that I can do something with it. I can create something with it. I can have people moving around if I want to tell a story. Also, a large part of it was played by graphic novels.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed a graphic novel is like a frame by frame film? Every frame is existent over there. And the moment you see it, it's like, oh, I'm watching a film in just stop motion. So it's one of those things that you want to tell a story, you have a screen, you have a voice, and you can do anything with it.
Yeah.
And I think all my life, I had this idea that I wanted to tell a story. I don't know what story. I have so many stories, like a little child with 10 million stories, wanted to tell you something or the other. But I had this insane need to just absurd fantasy stuff to bring up and talk about it. And then when I did actually go into that world, I did get a chance to do that, and it was surreal. It was a surreal experience. Whatever said and done, it was one of the most magical thing that I did. And I keep saying magical because it's, you have, I mean, if you are doing films, the process are so many that it makes you wonder that, you're sitting for hours and hours in front of that editing table, removing a shot, putting an actor. I don't like this shot. I like this dialogue, but I don't like the look. I like this shot, but I don't like the dialogue. And you sit for hours together and trying to figure out how to make this the best video or film or ad or whatever that you're creating at the moment. And I think that's what made me so happy, because you go from pre-production, which is just conceptualizing with your whole team, to the set where you are rushing and shooting, and you have no idea, other than the camera, the DOP and the director and you have no idea what's going to look on screen. You're hopefully, what you have on your monitor, this is what's going to come out. And then you go to the edit table and the editor yells at you and says, what are these shots? Ye kya khicha hai? And you're like, but I did my best. And you move on from that, and then you have something like you have your whole process of waiting for it to finish rendering, finish editing, color correction, and by the end of it, you're like, it's like you produced a baby. You're like, I am going to be done with this. But the moment it's done, all your tiredness, all your sleep, all your frustration, anger, it all sort of dissipates when you see
The final
what you've created. And that is just, my father used to keep saying that it's like magic. So I think that's what's the most beautiful thing about being on the other side of the camera.
So, like, when you said this whole fantasy you had in your mind, obviously, you then went ahead on this journey and decided to do this, like, take this forward. Now we all know that fantasy and reality are two very different things, right? So when you actually entered in this area, like, what was the actual reality that you faced? Like, what were the, like, I don't want to say it in a negative term, but obviously we all face certain struggles, we all face certain problems that we come across. So anything that you think that was like, dude, what? I didn't expect this to happen.
I think creativity is for madmen and poets, because without that, I don't think you can create anything. If I'm too much of a realist, I'll always look for a practical, logical reason. You know how they say you do some things in just the impulse. Creating a film is sort of like that. Sometimes you have to take that mad turn and be a weirdo, be absurd, be completely out of the ordinary to create something crazy, I mean, if you ever look at something like Alice and Wonderland or Alice Through the Looking Glass or Glass, or you see Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and the variety of it, I mean, no film leaves you thinking that this has been made by a sane person. There is something a little going on in your head, and I want to know more.
Yeah.
And so I think when the only time reality hits me is when I have to be in a routine. Get to office on time, connecting with your peers, connecting with your co-workers. The only time you have to be real is understanding when you're doing something, you're creating a film, one thing is making a story, the other thing is understanding the money and finances. I think that's where you get a slap across your face. Because if you alone want to create something, it's very expensive. It's like you need a big team or a team, and you need your camera, which is the most important. So many things come in play that you're not sure that you can do this on your own. Luckily, as an assistant director, I had the luxury of pulling back sometimes from the real parts of the production that you're going to do, as in the money bit or the parts where I have to take care of things that I didn't really care about. I shouldn't say it, but I didn't. And so I got more of a chance to be in the creative bend of it. But if you truly ask me, I think office politics, I'm being very real, office politics plays a large role in you finding either a very tough side of you or finding that you will burn out. And I went through both. I think I went through the fact that I got really excited. I finished college and I ran to work. And when I did start working, it was amazing. It was like, wow, I don't want to stop. I just want to keep working. I thought I was like on this journey to, I'll find myself. By 25, I'll be there. At 29, I'll be doing something hella big, man. But you understand that when you start working, there are so many limitations to what you are doing. And of course, then there is always somebody wanting to step on your head and go further, or getting into shit that you don't want to get into. And drama never leaves you. High school never leaves you.
Never leaves.
So I think a lot of that kind of like takes a toll on you, because when you're working a very stressful job or a very intense work that we do, there's a point where you get exhausted by that and you want to take a break from it and be like, listen, I don't think I can do this, which I did. So yeah, that's the real part. The real part is to be able to hold yourself high with a thick skin and say, listen, I got this. So I don't give a shit what you say about me. I don't give a shit what you think about me. I am beyond this gossip and this drama. If you can see that, that's the most real thing. If you can move beyond that, then that's great. But if you cannot, then it's going to be a little tough, which I couldn't. So I think it was like understanding both worlds.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask, when would you say should be a point when the person should be like, you know what, I need a break now? When they should stop being hard on themselves? Because these days I see people are hustling, they're going forward. But along the way, they're not understanding that, it's life and you need to just sometimes just take a step back and let it happen, whatever is happening. Because everyone is in such a rush of doing things and going forward and making their own space that you never know when it just takes such a big part of your life. So what would you say that, okay, this is the time, or anything that you think is like, chill, now you should relax now? Like, there should be a fine differentiation line, no? Because when to stop, or should we stop? Like,
I think we live in a world, especially now, where hustling is, if you're not hustling, you're not doing much. If you're not working and living your passion and traveling and have a social life, then are you even living? I think we wait till we burn out. Why do we have to burn out to realize that I worked hard, that I gave myself so much into my work, I gave myself in this passion? Why am I supposed to wait till a burnout? Why can't I actually feel like I'm enjoying my work? I am hustling. It's not easy. I don't care what anybody has to say about opportunities that you get, if you are getting in through because of contacts and all that. People are so hard on you when you get into a line where you know someone and you've gotten help, because that's when pressure is more on you, right? So when you're doing that, I mean, it's a little digressing. Why I'm saying that is because there are so many aspects to you realizing that, or be brought down from what you have achieved or created in your head. So I think a lot of times people forget that in turn to prove themselves or to prove that they are doing so much and they're working hard, they do too much and you burn out. I think the moment you realize that you have started to not enjoy getting out of bed, and I'm not talking about monotony. Monotony is inevitable. Any job, anything that you do, you could be sitting in Hawaii and surfing every day and that'll get monotonous. But at the end of the day, if you really don't enjoy what you're doing and you've started to feel a resentment, I think that's when you take a break. And I think everybody should take a breather. A breather is so important, because if you don't, you have no idea how that kind of anxiety or depression or that feeling of uneasiness creeps in. And it's one of the most scariest things to deal with.
Yeah.
And if once anxiety sets in, and I'm not mistaking a panic attack for an anxiety. Panic attack is something you can get out of. Anxiety is something you live with. It's like this long lost friend who's now got their clutches in you and they refuse to leave. So that is the scary part. I wouldn't want anyone, your age group, my age group, people younger than me, kids in school, it's scary that we push, and we don't realize that a large part of that pushing pushes you to feel unhappy.
Yeah.
Not satisfied. I mean, I get it. You have so much to do, so little time. I get all of that. But hold back, breathe a little, I want you to breathe a little. I'll say take a step back and assess what you want to do. Once you've reached a point, say for example, I reached a point of being an assistant director, I should have taken a step back and said, now what are my next steps? Which I didn't. I instantly wanted to jump into something bigger.
Yeah.
I instantly wanted to do because I thought I can when I couldn't. And I should have realized that. But I think for the generation coming up, God, every time I say generation coming up, I'm so old. Anyway, every time I feel like the world is like at a point where we need to understand that a step back doesn't mean a full stop. It's just a it's just a comma. It's just a, the ellipses.
Yeah.
It's probably just that you're thinking, you're recuperating, you're figuring it out, and it's fine to figure it out. At 30, I'm still figuring it out, and I don't know so many people who are still figuring it out. I mean, my parents, God bless their soul, they are so bloody supportive because they have been and even my partner, so supportive of the fact that it's okay to figure it out. It's okay to get your dreams a little later. It does not matter. You can just, my dad and my mom would carry on telling me, listen, if you go up in the hills and you open a coffee shop and you say, I just want to sell coffee and read books, and you're happy doing it, we're happy for you. I feel if that kind of support was given to possibly everyone, we'd be very, very happy. But the thing is, that doesn't work. A lot of the world is working on a different ideology right now. And I think this is a very controversial thought that I just put out there. But hustling isn't living. You're just doing it because you feel like it needs to be done. It's like one of those things, that generational thing.
Yeah.
So each generation has this thing of, oh, we have to do this or we have to do that. This idea, our ideology at the moment is hustle, otherwise you're not doing enough.
Yes. Yeah.
So
right now you mentioned about the support of your peers and your partner and your parents. Now, unfortunately, I think a lot of people out there who are aspiring to do something in direction or cinema or maybe anything related to films or video, mostly parents are not very supportive, or basically they don't have much information to provide support. I think that's the main thing there. So what would you say, like, how should a person tackle that? Because most of the times it's like, I know I want to do this, but they don't have that support and they don't have that, those resources, those emotional resources actually to go forward with this.
I don't think I have an answer for this. I have an answer for this. Honest to God, because I was privileged enough to be born in a family that cared about your passions. They cared about your dreams. Yes, they were also very strict about my education. I wanted to model when I was 16. I wasn't allowed. I wanted to go and act. I wasn't allowed. I wasn't allowed for the sole reason that my mother had that get a degree, get an education, and then do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to stop you. Even in school, when I wanted to take arts, nobody stopped me. Nobody stopped me from doing whatever I wanted. So I was lucky that way. I was privileged to have parents a family who didn't stop you. So unfortunately, I do know a lot of people though who go through the struggles of not being able to do what they want. But I think I think a lot of parents have, not a lot, but I guess people I know or heard of or see, a lot of parents are getting on board.
Yeah.
They're not so yesteryear anymore, They are getting on board with, like when I tell somebody that I want to write, or I'm into direction, or I'm in films, a lot of times they will turn around and say, that's brilliant. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, that's wonderful. Can you do something more with this? And they want to know more. There is a curiosity.
Yeah.
There is not that sullen face or that disgruntled snort that they give you, and you'll be like, doctor, engineer, lawyer nahi, teacher nahi, to tum kya ho? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you're always battling, right? But now the avenues are so much, and even parents understand that there is more to life than just sitting there and wondering that my child has to go into these particular avenues of work. But I still feel that parents have to work very hard and understanding that working is one thing, earning money is one thing, but the toll it really takes on your mind and your body is so much, because the work, say for example, the corporate jobs, they expect so much out of you. The industry that even I worked in was hard. It was not easy to exist in a world like that. You have a lot going on. You can't stop because the world is evolving constantly. Everybody's growing, everybody's evolving, everybody's changing. You take a step out and you feel like you've lost out a lot.
Yeah.
Though it's not true. So when I think about parents, I think that there is a lot of curiosity. There's still a lot of learning, but they're not far behind. There is a certain amount of support. I think there is also a certain amount of fight that needs to come from the kids as well.
Yes.
You have a passion, you are sure this passion is going to see you through, then have the guts to pick up your bags, walk out of the door and say, I'm going to make something of myself. I am standing here very happily saying this, that, oh, you have to get up and do this. I know very hard for some kids or for some parents, because you're maybe the sole owner of that family. You may have a lot of responsibilities on your head. So it's not easy. But I also don't think a child should be burdened with the burdens of their parents. We have enough of our own. We've got enough of our generational trauma. We've got enough of the world as is existing the way it is. We're in a cesspool of so much negativity that right now I think that where we are, parents could be a little more kind. They could be more supportive. But I feel like, because I see it. I see my mom struggling sometimes hard with me because of my mental health issues.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart, because we both stand on the precipice of trying to do something more for the other person. We are on the threshold of reaching out to one another, but sometimes it's not enough, because maybe I am going through a process or a spiral that she cannot understand, because she can't. It's something that she's still trying to figure out. And the person dealing with the person who has the mental health issue is also very hard, because they don't understand a lot of things. And when they do understand, there's also that they may not know how to help you. I may get your tears, I may get your pain, but I don't know how to be there for you other than sit next to you and hold your hand. So I think it's very tough for parents also. It's very tough. But the only thing that you can do is, if you know that this is going to pay off and your passion is important to you, I don't think a parent, if they love you, and I'm sorry, but sometimes parents are selfish, but if they love you enough, they will let you do what you feel is right for you. But I'm not saying disregard everything they're saying. I'm not going to be that person ki rebel. Everybody should rebel against their parents. But no.
धरने पे बैठ जाते हैं अगर मम्मी पापा नहीं दे रहे हैं चाहिए.
I mean,
Not advisable. With facts and proper information.
Yeah, I mean, make a project report and go to the this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Okay. So as we speak about statistics and report, right now you said that there are a lot of things that happen during shooting, during film, like during the whole idea of shooting something. You said you have to have your own camera, you have to have your own crew, whatever, and you said it's a pretty expensive, like if you're going on and taking things individually. How would you put the parameters and constraints of this whole field? Like, okay, this much amount would be spent here, this much because in a rough way, there are a lot of people who don't have the luxury to go and get an education in this thing or to get a degree in this. And if they want to start their own individual thing, what would you give them a rough estimate of, okay, itna paisa hai tumhare paas ya itna resources hai, you can go ahead and do it, or whatever your advice is on it, like, okay, don't spend here, don't spend that, whatever you think.
I think and you're talking basically about films and
basically about shooting, yes.
I don't think anybody without experience should get into it first. Okay. Money is so much later, because I think what you learn on the job is the best. So it does not matter if you don't have a degree and you can just start working. Start working in a production house. Start working on sets as a freelance. Whatever you want to be. You want to be I don't think assistant director, but if you want to be a person on the sets for, say, sound or lights or camera or assistant DOP, you have to understand that there is that part where you have to learn. And if you don't learn, I don't think anything that I can say or do will help you. I mean, the money part is so much later. It's what you have experience for. What are you experiencing? And also the fact that if you don't know what you're doing, I can give you 10 ways of making a film and you will still turn around and say, not enough. You need to know, you need to be on the sets, you need to be in a production house to know how to budget, where to cut money, where to save money, where to, that it's not required. You don't learn this very beautiful, beautiful word, jugaad, if you don't get on the job. So start small, start wherever you can and go from there. And eventually, like even friends of mine right now, we all became ADs together. And today one of my friends made a 20-minute film, but he didn't, and he has monetary issues. And yet he went all the way to work in about 8 to 9 different production houses, worked on different positions. And finally, even though he's freelancing, he finally made a 20-minute film.
Yeah.
And I think he put it up somewhere, I'm not sure, but he's just finished shooting it. And it was tough for him, but he saved up. Now, I cannot tell you till I don't know your film or I don't know the script. So you have to be, when you're writing a script, actually don't worry about the script. When you're doing a screenplay, when you find places, things that you can do in the most minimum amount. Now, if I wanted to make a horror film, I will choose my home because thank God I have a koti that is like looks scary, isn't? It's beautiful. The right lighting with the right atmosphere, with the right kind of actors, with the right story, I can make that house look like it's out of Conjuring. Like that's what I can do. And that's the kind of places you save money. Take favors from friends. Take favors from friends, take favors from family, the most beautiful thing that you can do is figuring it out. Like you figure out where you want to do what. And the best part is if it's your local city.
Yes.
If it's your city or where you've grown up, you will have a easier time shooting it. Honestly, I don't have how to save money ideas because I suck at it. But I can tell you how to start your life in this process is get on the job. I feel like Kim Kardashian shakes. It's like when she said get up and just get in the field. Just know. But what I honestly am telling you is if you are interested, start small, join a production house, join a team and take it from there. And eventually you'll understand the nuances of creating or making a film with money and all. But honestly, I'm not your money person. Not the person you are.
But right now you said go out, talk to a production house or whatever, get in the field. Any ways, any tricks that you would like to tell people that, okay, this might be something, this might be a portal where you can just go and talk to people, word of mouth or connections, or how is a person who's just starting up can get an experience somewhere? Where should they ask कि भैया काम दे दो?
Internship. हम सबकी जिंदगी है internship. Anything you want to do is start with an internship. Everybody wants free labor. Yeah?
Yes.
An intern is just there to do the grunt work. But that is a very beautiful place to start from. I mean, I think you can be an intern at any age.
Yeah,
So it doesn't matter if what you're going into. So I think starting off as an intern is the best one. Nobody expects anything from you. They're like, ये intern है, इससे कुछ नहीं हो सकता है, इसे सीखने दो. And so you're fine with that intern. And you can make mistakes, get yelled at and not feel bad. You're like, shit, did I let everybody down on my team? No, I'm an intern. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm still learning. So you give yourself that space to not feel scared. You have the time and experience to do so much and learn. So when people are, people say it's tough and, you have to learn on your own. I think if you find the right people, and it's not easy to find the right people, I get it. I was fortunate. So you're an intern, start from there. That's the best place to start. You'll not feel bad about yourself. No self-esteem is going to go down. As an intern, don't go with any expectations. Be chill, be happy. That's all I can tell you. Because I started as an intern and I started in my father's company. And God, you would think that, in your dad's company, tum to maze kar rahi hogi, tumhe to koi kuch nahi kahega. My parents are Fauji brats. My parents took my case. My mother is so strict when it comes to earning, living. It's very clear in my household that you don't have money, I have the money, you are living off it. You can be happy and thankful that we're doing it for you, but get out there and do something on your own. That was similar. That was really hard on me. My father was so hard on me when I joined the place. I, as an intern, got yelled at more than any other intern because it was like a setting an example. One, two, it was also people there saying, oh, nepotism, because that new word had just popped in 2017. Nepotism. So you were a nepotism, sorry, you were a nepo baby, and oh, you got in because your dad's heading this company, and you were like, huh, he is, but I am not getting any shortcuts out of this. I am getting yelled at. No deadline is being pushed for me.
Yes.
Nobody's feeling bad for me, especially not him. So why is like that was the biggest thing. So, but one of the most beautiful things that happened to me was being trained under a man and my mom, but my dad mostly, that I didn't get shortcuts. I didn't get my deadline pushed. I did get yelled at. I did get very solid training to be able to take on work, do things, have that fear, and not fear that, oh God, they will yell at me. Fear that my work isn't going to be good enough if I am not there present. And I learned that as an intern. I learned that, and it really changed my outlook. Today, if I want to go out and work, I know professionally I will be fine. I can take care of it. Yes, I'll get yelled at. I will make mistakes because God, if nothing else, I'm flawed. But I am so thankful for the 4G boot camp training I got that didn't give me any leeway, no place, no cracks that you can get away with this. I had a problem with coming on time. Oh God, the way I would be shunned in that office. Ranaita, Shani, why the fuck were you late? And you're like, we live in the same house. How do I lie to you? How do I tell you I am so sorry there was traffic? We live 5 minutes away from any place. Don't be lying to me. So yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I feel that if you are interning, you're going to learn great loads of stuff. Just intern. And you get a stipend, I think. If you're lucky, you get a stipend. And in that, you can, well, you can't do much with it, but it's a start. And then if you get inculcated into the team, then it's even
I think
better.
the starting, you should be more focused on the learnings that you're getting and on the experience.
See, listen, everybody, like, let's be real. We can say you're going to get a lot of learning, but everybody wants to see a little bit of the moolah. Everybody wants to see a little bit of the money because, you know, who wants to do anything without the idea of monetarily getting something, you know, even, and you do need it. How much? It's like, should I say pocket money or your first salary sort of a thing? It's also very exciting to get your money that you earned, that you worked for. So, yeah, focus on the learning, focus on all of that, but that little extra motivates you. Why the hell not? A little bit of money motivates everybody to do something.
I think in the start, when I was like just starting, I mean, I think anyone who would just start, for us at that point of time, it's just, can we just get a break? Can we just get that one opportunity? And ठीक है भाई, तुम मुझे पैसे मत दो. I just want to stay there and just prove myself once. And once I've done that, once I have given 2 months there and मेरा सारा रगड़ लिया मुझे, then I think, then it comes in me like personally, then it comes in me like, okay, now I'm not gonna work in like 10 or 20. Like, I know where my standards are, but only after I've like proved myself somewhere that okay, because मुझे भी थोड़ा चाहिए था ना कहीं से कि okay, होत है तुम में कुछ, you are worth that amount of money. Like, what do you think? I don't know. In starting, I was like,
I think that is what the problem is, you know. Everybody's too, not everybody, why am I being like this? Why am I being like this? I think everyone, again I'm doing that? God, okay, hold on. Let me rephrase it. My hard work comes from a lot I am giving into my job. I don't care if I am an intern. I don't care if I am on the job. I'm in the cogwheel of this company. If I am too busy just proving what, I mean, I am working hard nights after nights, days after days, showing up. Of course, you have to show up, but you're coming to work. You're doing everything that you can for the sole purpose that you can earn something good and do something more with your life. But is it always going to be, I have to prove myself? You are proving yourself by being in this job. Otherwise, you would have been thrown out by now. Every day that you are in that job, just because you're not getting accolades for the work, does not mean that you're not doing a good job. Every day, somebody doesn't have to come and pat you on the back and say, "Good job, beta. आज तुमने खुश कर दिया मुझे." I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't bloody matter what accolades, what appreciation, of course you want it, and I get that, but what matters more, I think, is the fact that you know you're doing your best. The company's not thrown you out, so I'm pretty sure they know you're doing your best. So why should you always compare and say, ki, am I doing my best with the money, with the if my money is worth my work? Of course it is, and sometimes you're getting not paid enough for the hard work that you're putting in. I think you need to see it like that sometimes.
But how will someone understand the parameter or the bar? Like, okay, like how would we know that, okay, this is the right amount of work, or this is like, where and how can one person be sure that, okay, not sure, also can get a rough idea कि, okay, you know, itna kaam is expected, or I mean, I don't know, expected is the right term to say, but इतना काम करना है, इतना काम नहीं करना, like कुछ तो बार हो.
कोई mantra नहीं है यार. There's no mantra to this. It's honestly, it is till when do you want to do it? Everything is you. You're the center of this universe. You figure it out on your own when you're sure that this is how long I want to work. See, some is circumstantial. Okay, sometimes there's a project that you're doing, for example, and for 3 days you will not go home. No night, no morning, no afternoon. No afternoon. You're going to be living in this office, in this little box of yours, till you don't finish your work. Then you get 1 day off to recuperate, and the next day you have to come back to work.
Yeah.
Now you can choose to call into work and say, listen, I can't make it, I'm not feeling well. The most beautiful excuse that you can give, and give that and say, I'm not coming. Or you say, screw it, man. The person out there will yell at you and say, what nonsense. But if you're a good worker, they're not going to lose you. If you're really good at what you do, they're not going to push you. I mean, they'll get angry, but they won't throw you out of your job. You can take a little leverage there. But you know, I think, again, I'm the worst person to answer this because I got burnt out doing the same shit. I got burnt out pushing for 4.5 years, and realized I want to make films, but not in this kind of environment. I think the environment is very important. So I think that कब रुकना है तो तुम decide करोगे. Nobody can tell you when. I cannot tell you, Anusha, stop now. I think you're getting very tired. I need you to stop. You would be like, I'm fine. All I can do, sitting there, being your friend, can say, I think you're pushing yourself too hard, take a break. I cannot make you sit down, cannot snatch your laptop, your phone. I cannot turn your brain off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I think the few things that I've understood from this is, like, first, you don't need to prove yourself constantly. It's fine. It's fine to just be the way you are. It's okay. And secondly, I think... take charge, make your decisions. You are the one person who would know best what you want, what you need. And obviously ऐसा नहीं होगा कि एक दिन रात में बैठे बैठे चमक जाएगा कि ये मुझे चाहिए.
Suddenly you're sitting there, maybe you're smoking a cigarette, having some coffee, and you're staring up into the sky, and suddenly some bloody thought will hit your face and you'll be like, why didn't I think of this part for myself? I mean, that is like I said, magic is everywhere if you are ready to see it. I know it sounds mystical, and all these realists out there will be like, what a load of crap. But I swear to God, the world works in such ways that you don't even know. Today I could be on my lowest, crying, want to like run away from the world, and 3 days later something beautiful will happen to me, which will restore my faith in the fact that I love it. I love my life.
You mentioned about mystical. So this is also one part of your life which I really wanted to discuss. Like
yeah, we were
yeah, I was like, wow, does this exist actually? Like Yes, so with this we come to the end of the part 1 of this podcast. Part 2 will be released next week, and I hope everyone is excited about it. It's about tarot card reading, it's about mental health, it's about everything we as a Gen Z are facing in terms of emotions. And yeah, just Stay tuned for the next episode and subscribe to my channel again. Yes, I mean, if you want to, I'll be really, really glad if you do. And Spotify, follow, Instagram, follow, and just keep supporting Lemon Lessons. Thank you so much, and hope you have a great day. Thank you.